Hello, I'm Azaraki, sometimes known as Azaraki Dragon, and I have been working on this Shardbound personal tracker. So it works as a match history and stats sheet. If you do not know what Shardbound is, I will put a link in the description where you can sign up. It's currently in development. It is a card game that's also a tactics game pretty much. So you have mana, you have a deck, you draw cards, you play them using the mana, and then once they're on the board, you can actually control them, position them, and tell them to attack people specifically. And it's on a hex grid and everything, so it's a pretty cool combination of those different types of strategy elements from card games and tactics games. The rest of you are here to see how the personal tracker works. So first of all, any gray box is what you'll be filling out. Everything else is automated, so only touch things that are gray boxes. So real quick, this part's pretty obvious. The deck name. So let's say I have a deck named Viridian, right? And then I can select the color, and there's a drop-down list, so you can put the color here. Green, cool. And then other notes, anytime other notes is there, it's something for you, anything you want to say about it. So like this could remind me, oh, this is an aggro deck, or something like that. So at the bottom here, there are 4 different tabs. The matchmaking tab is your matchmaking match history. And so this is the main thing that you'll be filling out. The date doesn't matter too much in terms of how the sheet works, but you can use it in case you want to look back and say, oh, how did I do February? Say it's April or something. And then once you do that, the important parts are the results. So did you win or did you lose? Let's say we won this, we lost this, and we won this. And so you can see also win streak. We'll put a loss here, just to make it easier to see. Your win streak, or your streak is win streak or loss streak. Negative is losses, positive is wins. Spread is how close to 50-50 are you. So if it's 1, then you're 1 game above having a 50-50% win rate. So win and then loss. So now we're at 50-50, then we lose again. Now we're -1 because we're 1 below 50-50. And then right here, there's a drop-down menu with all the decks that you have listed. I'll actually add another one, just so you can see a little bit more clearly that it is a drop-down menu that features all of your decks. And then it fills in your color, the color of the deck automatically, which is really cool. Your opponent name doesn't really matter too much. It's just for your own reference again, so I'm going to use the source because he and I are co-casters, and I'm sure he would be okay with me using his name. He plays a bunch of different decks. He hates green decks though, or he hates playing green decks. All right, and then other notes again. This is just whatever you want to write into it. So there's a third tab called Tournament Matches, which is the exact same page. You fill it out the same way. Everything is the same except the stats page. The stats will give you separate stats for tournaments and matchmaking because most people generally try harder during tournaments, and you're going to get different types of matches that you may not win at as often, or maybe you win more often, who knows, because you try harder. And once you fill out all of that, then the 4th page is a stats page. Now I'm going to go to a different sheet which I filled out beforehand with a bunch of random data. So all of these games are random data. But it lets us look at a stat sheet that actually has stuff in it, which is pretty cool. So you have a bunch of stats: highest win streak, highest loss streak, highest spread. Overall here, this is your overall stats. So 33 games played, 19 wins, 12 losses, 2 draws. Here's your win rate. Play rate we'll get to later. So WVR, something like if you just see the acronym, you're going to be like, what is this? I don't even know what it is. But as soon as I tell you it's the amount of wins you have versus red decks, then like it becomes really easy to remember, especially since all of these at the top are color coded. So win rate versus red overall, or sorry, wins versus red overall is 4, win rate is 57%, so that's like 4 wins, 5 losses or so. And you get that for every color. Now the cool thing is that you can, over here in these gray boxes, remember, only touch the gray boxes. Everything else has a formula in it, so don't touch anything else. They're either a label or they have a formula in it. So we can select one of our decks. So this deck has a bunch, or this sheet has a bunch of decks. So rocks, for example. And it shows you how many games you played, what's the play rate, so how many out of your total games, like what percentage do you play this deck with, wins, losses, draws, win rate, and it also gives you your stats per specific matchup. So if you have like My rocks deck is not great against orange decks or purple decks, but it's good against blue decks and yellow decks. So you can see that really easily here. And you can compare 5 decks at the same time. So there you go, you can fill this out. You can duplicate them, I guess. You can put 2 things that are the same on, it doesn't really matter too much. So it gives you all the stats for it. If the box is white with a red triangle in the top left corner, the formula is giving an error, and in this case that just means that you haven't played that matchup yet. So I have not played red versus red in this like random set of stats that I threw out. Over here you have your matchmaking win-loss spread, so it basically just tracks how close you are to a 50-50 win rate. 0 being 50-50, so had off to a rough start, and then we got better. Win rate against certain colors, so overall, and these two are always overall, these graphs. So overall, bad against green, good against blue and purple. Over here, win rate with colors. Now I should specify that's win rate with colors and not decks. So, for example, this sheet has 2 green decks, rocks and saplings. One of them has 12 games, one of them has 3. They're both combined when looking at the win rate with colors. So combined, they have a 46.7% win rate. And you can see that here because saplings have 66% and rocks have 41%. And then down here, this is the exact same thing. It works the exact same way, but it looks at your tournament stats. So anything you put specifically in the tournament section, tournament match history, will show up here. And that is the Shardbound personal tracker that I've been working on. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope it brings some use. Hope you guys just like messing around with the stats and keeping track of those things. Feel free to share this with anyone you know who plays Shardbound who would like to track how their performance is. And I was Azaraki Dragon. You can follow me on Twitter at Azaraki Dragon. And there's stuff here. Like, you just follow this stuff and you'll find everything pretty well. There's going to be a link to this page in the description. There's going to be a link in the description where you can sign up to Shardbound. It's a great game. Really good devs. The devs from Dawngate, actually. Most of them are from Dawngate. So that's how you know it's good. I will see you guys later. You do you. I don't have an outro. That was the best you're going to get. Have fun.